Hello everyone, welcome back to English class. Dear students, today we are going to continue chapter number 4, The Treasure Within, from the book It So Happened. So open your books, page number 28. If I talk about the previous part, then we have read like this chapter is based on the conversation between Miss Bila Raja and Hafiz contractor. Bila Raja has conducted an interview of famous Indian architect Mr. Hafiz. Hafiz is the one of the famous architect of India, and she has asked about the school life, and Hafiz answered that how the 5 minutes conversation with principal of his school changed him completely, and he was very mischievous student till 10th standard. As we have read many things about the school life of Hafiz contractor. Now move on to the second part, which says he stumbled on architect because he knew little French and less German. He was offbeat even in the pranks that he played on others, and when he found his calling, there was no looking back. So let's start reading the conversation between them. How did you get into the field of architecture? Then Miss Bela asked the contractor how he ended up being an architect. Means how he made efforts to being an architect. Then he says, in the college for architecture, nobody who had got below 80 to 85% was allowed to enter. I had only 50%. I wanted to join the army. I got my admission letter, but my aunt tore it up. Then I decided that I wanted to join the police force. So, what happened then? He says Hafiz contractor told Miss Bela that those who got less than 80 to 85% were not allowed to pursue architecture in college. Okay, so obviously you know very well that in if you want to take admission to a very good college, in a reputed college, then the cutoff list should be there, and yes, your marks should be in 80 to 85% or 80 to 100%. That in that area it was 80 to 85%, but now here means in today's time, in today's scenario, it should be 80 to 90, 100%. So he revealed that how he wanted to serve in the army, and he even got his admission letter, but his aunt tore it apart. He then decided to join the police force. Okay, so he wanted to go architecture, but he got only 50%, so there was no chance. Next he wanted to join army, but as his aunt denied, so he again he wanted to join the police force, but he joined. My mother said, don't join the police force, just do your graduation. So I went to Jain College in Bombay. There I was to either take French or German. Though I had studied French for 7 years, I didn't know 7 words of French, so I took German. Then my German teacher died. The college told me that I could change the college or take French. Now, who would give me admission in another college? I had got admission to Jain by influence. So I am reading on the page number 28 to 29. And now what he added, he then he decided to go to the police, join police force, but his mother advised him to pursue his graduation. Okay, so his mother didn't want to send him to the police force. She advised him to just do your graduation. So he took admission in Jain College in Bombay. Now it is Mumbai. So in college he got a choice between studying French or German. Two languages were there. He just there was a choice. He wanted to join one. He said that although he had learned French for 7 years, as in his school life he had taken the French, and French was also the subject for 7 years, but he didn't know even 7 words of language. Okay, he had studied it for 7 years but didn't know even the 7 words, so he felt it was better to take German. After a while, his German teacher passed away, dead, and so he was proposed by the college to either take French or change his college. Okay, so as there were no German teacher, so the college told him what suggested him just take another language, means just took what French, or just left the college. Now what happened, French he changed his language to French because he changed the language because who would give him admission, which college would give him admission. Okay, so because he would not get admission in any other college, in this college also he got admission through contacts. Okay, as he was having only 50% in his hand, so on the basis of that there was no any other college who will give him admission. On that basis he was not able to get admission even in this college only. He took admission, or he got admission in this college because of the contacts or references of others. So he just changed the language. So he began learning French again, this time from his cousin. So what happened then? And so I thought, okay, I will take French, and I started learning French again. I learned it from my cousin. She was an architect's wife. I was going to an architect's office to learn French. Okay, so what he was doing, he began learning French again, this time from his cousin who was married to an architect, and thus he used to go to an architect's office to study French. Okay, so in this way he just met to contact with architects. On page number 29, next, BR means Bela Raja. Was it then you decided you want to do architecture? Actually, it all happened quite by chance. In the architect's office, I saw somebody drawing a window detail. A window detail is a very advanced drawing. So now she asked him. Hafiz told Miss Bela that it was all a matter of chance. As she was asking, it was then, as you were going in architect's office for learning French, it was the time when you decided that you must go in the architecture field. But what he said, he told that it was all a matter of chance. Okay, it was not by choice, it was just matter of chance that he ended up doing architecture. One day he goes on to tell a story about how once now he had started a story about his life and how he entered into the architecture. When he was in the architect's office, he saw someone drawing a window detail. Obviously, in the architect's office, different types of parts would draw into the, yes, in a complete detail. So when someone was drawing a detail, window detail, which he specifies was a very advanced drawing. I told him that his drawing was wrong, that the window he had drawn would not open. He then had a bet with me, and later he found that indeed his drawing was wrong. My cousin's husband was surprised. He asked me to draw a few specific things, which I immediately did. He asked me to design a house, and I designed a house. After that, he told me to drop everything and join architecture. We went to meet the principal of the college. Okay, so how the things happened in his life, he said they bet, as he was watching the windows drawing, and what he added and what he suggested that Hafiz saw the drawing and told that the person that is drawing was not right. He added that with this design the window would not open, as he was making the design, but with the help of this the window would not open. So they bet upon it. Bet. Okay, and later it turned out that Hafiz was right, and the window he drew would not open. The architect, Hafiz's cousin's husband, was amazed by this because the person who was drawing the windows detail was a professional, but Hafiz was not. But still, Hafiz made corrections. Hafiz's cousin's husband was amazed by this, and he asked Hafiz to pen out a few other sketches, which Hafiz easily did. And then if he asked him to draw a house, he drew a house. Who? Hafiz easily drew a house. The architect was so impressed that he advised him to drop everything immediately and enter the line of architecture. He even went to the principal of the college with Hafiz. Okay, so in this way, he moved into the architecture. The principal warned me, I will allow you to take part in the entrance exams, but if you do not do well, I will not allow you to join. I got an A plus in the entrance exam, and from that day it was a cakewalk. I had never made a plan, but I knew how something looked like from the top. I had never known what a section was, but I knew if you cut a plan what it would look like. So entrance exam was there. So what happened then? He, the principal allowed him to appear for the entrance exams, but he warned Hafiz that he will not get admission if he doesn't perform well in entrances. As if from he was got 50% only, was not an intelligent child. So the principal was thinking about his presence of mind and his ability, means he would be able to study here or not. So there he conducted an entrance exam and he warned him it was compulsory for him to clear with the good percentage. So what he got? He got Hafiz appeared for the entrance exam, bashed and A plus, and from that day onwards it was a smooth ride for him. Here is a word cake walk, which means smooth ride, something easy to achieve. As you can see in the cake, if you put a knife, it smoothly come down. So cakewalk means smoothly ride, something easy to achieve. So he achieved A plus. He never made a plan, but he was aware of how things looked like. Okay, so I stood first class first throughout after that. I believe that all this understanding came from what I used to play and do during school. I had a friend called Behram Davecha. We used to have competitions between us for designing forts, guns, and ammunition. Each of us would design something in an effort to be different. So here is the end of the page number 29. And he was telling he never made a plan, but he was aware of how things looked like from above. Similarly, he had never known what a section was, but he knew how a plan would look like if you cut it out. He always stood first in class afterwards. According to him, his great understanding of the architecture came from how he played and did all other activities in school. Okay, he had not taken interest in books, but yet he was very interested in playing things in the sports and other mischievous things. And what happened, he tells Miss Bela about one of his friends named Behram Davecha, with whom he used to compete about designing forts, guns, and ammunition means what? Just think about it. What is the meaning of ammunition? Both of them would really put in a lot of efforts in order to be different and make their piece stand out. They all both wanted to be the master of the piece, means master of their drawing, and they both were competing each other. Okay, so what happened in school when I was in the second or third standard? One of my teachers, Mrs. Gupta, saw my sketches and told me, "See, you are useless in everything else, but your sketches are good. When you grow up, you become an architect." I didn't know at that time, but she was right. Later, after I became an architect, I went back to meet her and tell her it is the best experience, best feeling for a teacher. Okay, so he was telling that when he was in second or third standard, a teacher named Mrs. Gupta told him when she saw his sketches that his work was good. She liked his sketches. She mentioned that she knows he was useless in almost everything. Who? Hafiz. Hafiz was useless in everything because, as he told us earlier, that from third standard he lost his interest in studies. So she mentioned that she knows he was useless in almost everything else, but she advised him to be an architect when he would grow up. So teacher told her, told Hafiz to be to be an architect, quite obviously. Okay, so I went back to her. Hafiz didn't know it back. That time Hafiz didn't know because this child of a third standard didn't understand what is architect. So what he said, Hafiz couldn't understand that time, but she advised him to be an architect when he would grow up. And quite obviously Hafiz didn't know it back then, he was actually going to become an architect. So years later, when he became one what a successful architect, he went to see her, his teacher Mrs. Gupta, and tell her about it. So now after that, he went to the teacher and told her about the architecture career of him. So here we are ending today. Tomorrow we will cover up the last part of the